Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Mike and I want to talk to you guys about converting a regular resin plastic shed into a roll-off roof observatory. This is mine, recently completed, or at least complete enough to put a telescope in, which I have not done yet. So let's take a look. This is a regular Craftsman 7x7 resin shed purchased at Lowe's. And most of the lumber, as a matter of fact, was purchased at Lowe's. And let's take a look around it. Okay, so first off, you'll notice that it's plastic, obviously. Now it's built on a wood platform, and I chose to do just regular deck stones around there. And the reason is because I wanted this structure to be as temporary as possible and able to be moved really easily, as well as using these stones and leveling this platform. I didn't have to tear up a whole bunch of the backyard or anything. I just had to dig out the stones and space them enough to where everything was level, and then I could build the shed from there. Everybody who's built a resin shed said that keeping it level as possible is crucial to building it and everything lining up, and I'd have to say they were correct. So why resin? Well, if you look at the price of a wood shed right now, this is a 7x7 shed and it costs under $800, or maybe right around $800, whereas a 5x5 wooden shed costs about $2,000. So the economics was pretty heavily favoring going with resin to keep this build as cheap as possible. The whole concept behind a resin roll-off observatory is you frame the inside and then you go around and you screw the actual outer structure of the shed to the studs and stuff inside. So now this structure basically just becomes an outer skin, and the internal structure is what's really holding everything together. And so far I have to say it works pretty well. It's very solid. Let's take a walk back here to the gantry. This is all pressure treated wood, 4x4s, all purchased at Lowe's. And one of the things that I really tried to do was keep this whole structure as temporary as possible, because my wife and I are going to be selling the house in the next few years. So this is really just a small structure to scratch the itch. So that being said, we want it to be temporary. Everything is connected with screws and brackets. There's not a single nail in this entire build. And so that this is made so that you can take the gantry off really easy and take it all apart. And you can literally just pick this whole thing up as an assembly with a forklift, put it on a flatbed truck, and take it anywhere you want. The gantry, obviously, is made out of pressure-treated 4x4s, and it is very solid, like solid as a rock. I can't even wiggle it. It just goes down to the grass here, and just has regular plastic feet sitting on paving stones, like 12x12 paving stones, I think is what they were. Again, what you'll see throughout this whole thing is that it's as low-tech as possible. Out here also in the gantry, have these 6-inch hasps. What these are for is to keep the roof stable out here when it's out here on the gantry. Even right now, I don't know if you hear the wind or not, but it's pretty windy out here. And so when we slide the roof back in a minute, these will definitely keep you from waking up to find your roof laying in the neighbor's yard in the morning after a long night of imaging while you're sleeping. Okay, also, one of the things I did around the cut line is I put weather stripping in, and one, that kind of hides wobbles in the cut line, but two, it fits nice and snug to the structure. And I went around the whole top with a bead of silicone, so any water that hits this is not going to get inside the shed. It's just going to hit this and it's just going to roll right off. And so I've already experienced some rain, and as well as ran the sprinklers, and so far not a drop of water has made it into the shed. Okay, walking around. Now here's something interesting as well. I had kind of called it a lesson learned. I had installed the tracks prior to making the cut, and I figured that if I had waited to install the tracks after making the cut, I could have lifted the roof up onto the tracks, and then that would have given me a nice even spacing all the way around the wall. Well, yes, but on the flip side of that, had I done that, I also would have generated spacing up here at the top of the door, which I don't necessarily want, because there's a little thing up in here that that keeps the door from pulling out up top. See? So, okay, let's go ahead and go in. All right, here we are inside. So obviously step one of the shed build was to build the platform. And step two was to build the shed itself. And step three was to start building the framing. And so this was the framing. So first you build the lower framing, and then you build the upper framing. And it all goes on. It sits on these tracks right here. So all this wood and all this hardware holding this on, I got all this stuff at Lowe's. These wheels and these tracks going all the way out, I actually picked those up off of Amazon. This is also off of Amazon. This is just a little thermometer, hygrometer. It sends the temperature and humidity inside the shed to a little receiver I have in the kitchen, so I can just kind of keep tabs on it. Also up inside here, mounted a small computer style fan up in the gable vent right there, just to, it's a plastic structure, so it gets pretty warm in here. So it's solar powered, so anytime the sun's shining really brightly and it's getting hot in here, this little fan helps blow some of the heat out of here. So far, once I opened that vent up and made the cut and installed that fan, even on like a 90-degree day, I haven't seen temperatures over 120 in here, which sounds unbearable, except really it's just a storage location for a telescope. So I don't plan on spending any major time out here, and when I do, it'll be outside at night when it's cool under the stars, not in the blazing hot sun. Okay, so moving around, like I said, the build was really simple. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd have to give it about a 5. I am not a woodworking carpentry kind of dude, and I had help building the platform and help with the construction just of the lower rails, but in terms of installing everything, building the upper frame and building the gantry and putting it all together, I did every single bit of it myself. And again, I am not a home improvement kind of dude, and I was able to get through this. Okay, so to keep the roof on, I'm gonna go ahead and start taking these off. I have 6-inch hasps in each corner over here, and obviously this is to keep the roof from rolling forward and aft, up and down, as well as I got a couple big large gate pins in the back that'll also help keep the roof from rolling forward and aft. And so I'm going to go ahead and, sorry about the camera work, I'm trying to use one hand to do each, but this is really simple stuff. I mean, this is how easy it is, and I tried to be as low tech as possible. And like I said, all this hardware purchased at Lowe's. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get this ready to roll. Okay, so the roof is ready to go off. So what else can I say about the framing in here? So the framing, it's it's all just kind of made in here. It's every single spot is reinforced with a 90-degree bracket, and every single bit of it is screwed directly down through the floor into the platform that it sits on. And as you can see, there's just little reinforcements and everything everywhere. I went with 4x4s up here on the top because I wanted to put the tracks on, and also 4x4s up here because you want to put the wheels on, and you want to give some slop. Some people might want to use 2x4s side by side, but also another good thing about 4x4s is they add weight, and you want the shed to be a little bit on the heavy side for inclement weather and whatnot. Another thing, making the cut, not only did I put just some extra little ceiling here, made a little reinforcements right here by the door, because this part right here get a little bit floppy when you make the cut right there, because there's less structure. So this just is a nice reinforcement, and you can see it's screwed in with a 3-inch screw through the outside of the shed. Okay, so these tracks and these wheels, I think I already said, I got these off of Amazon. They were cheap, made by Alico, I think. And everything else in here, literally, and that fan I got on Amazon. Everything else I pretty much purchased at Lowe's. These are just same as the weather stripping on the outside, just garage door stripping. I still have some stuff to do in here. I ordered some brush seals to kind of help close this gap a little bit. But I mean, this is pretty much it. Open the doors, and the roof rolls pretty well. I mean, I can walk up and give it a push with one hand again, and one hand off the top. It'll slide right out onto the gantry, and as you can see, got a pretty nice view. It's almost shoulder height right here for me, so it's a little over, I want to say it's just a little over 5 feet right here to the top of this, which is more than enough room for my scope to clear when I put a scope in here. Again, this is a 7x7 shed, and that's pretty much it. And it's a pretty windy day today, so let's do this. And again, so once you push this out onto the gantry, and even in a windy day, this roof is pretty darn stable. But again, I got hasps right here, and I just grab one of these carabiner thingies and put it right onto the hasp. And that's really it. I know I rambled a little bit, and I hope this wasn't too terribly long. It looks like we're pushing about 11 minutes here, so I'm going to close out. But all in all, it was a fun build, and it was a lot more intimidating to think about than it was to actually do. Have a good day.